proclamation, everybody leave. They left, went to Salzburg, Austria, our group. But rest of them went all over Prussia, that's Berlin, Poland. Then we finally started arriving here. First boatload, 12th of March, 1734, 285 years ago. Okay, this is the second colony of Georgia you're standing in today. All right, second boatload arrives December of 1734. Another little group shows up in 35. And then another boatload shows up at the time we're fixing to move, which is February 17th, 1736. What I said when y'all were walking up is in this project I took the detailed report and I wrote down everybody that Fenwick Jones had translated. These are the names of the people. And up in the courthouse, there is a book that is hidden. When it used to be in the old, I'm going to say that for a reason. When it was in the old courthouse, it was up on a shelf, and when they moved to the new one, they took all the old books and they put them back there where you can't see them. You've got to ask special permission to go see them. The Work Projects Administration, WPA. In 1929, we had a depression. We had all these people out of work. So the government came up with some things that we got to get these people back to working. So they came up with the CC's Conservation Corps. They took young men and planted forests all over the country.
My husband was in that.
Right. Then they said we got to hire more people, so we need to build fences at national parks. We need to build army barracks. We need to do all kind of projects. So we hired them. They took the old ladies and they they inventoried cemeteries and wrote down did Laurel Grove in Savannah, they did Bonaventure, they did Catholic Cemetery, they did all over the country, did the same thing. Somebody found some Germans who spoke German, and they translated the first 5 years of the song, what we later did, except when the WPA did it, they had more names than we had in the detailed reports. We arrived at Savannah, Georgia on March the 12th, 1734. And then they have sent people up here to find a spot and start clearing some ground and building some kind of structure to survive under. Von Rick says that the first group didn't get the later group coming from Savannah didn't get to Abercorn until April the 3rd. And on the April the 4th, they walked up here toting everything they had. That's why I was toting that big cooking pot back in the thing back a while ago. You had to tote all your clothes, all your provisions, probably an axe, a shovel, cooking utensils. They came here, and when he arrived, 9 Salzburgers had built 2 structures, one of them 40 feet long, using the barks of trees. Now, I'm going to tell you what, there's a translation problem there. Because there ain't no trees here that you could cut the bark off. You can on a birch tree. But what I think the translation probably is accurate, is they had a 40-foot shelter, and probably that top was built out of palmetto bushes or something. It sure ain't built out of barks of trees. But that's what's in his Von Rex voyages. Second boatload arrives here December 1734. We got 130 people, 10 more identified later in 35, that's 140. 38 of them died. And then of course, you were getting here and nothing is clear. This is my fault. You're getting here in April and you're starting to clear and you're trying to build a house. They ain't had much of a garden, I don't believe. I can't believe that they had. But their complaint was, hey, we're dying out and it's not producing a good crops. But actually, this ain't a bad place to live, because there's people living in worse today in this county. But they found a new location, and in March the 5th, Noble Jones that lived at Wormslow Plantation comes, he's a surveyor. He laid out Savannah with the same plan. He laid out Ebenezer. He goes to Augusta and lays out Augusta, and then he goes to St. Simon's at Fort Frederica. He lays out 4 complete towns using the same plan. Each one had what I call a park today, but they had town squares. Thank you, ma'am. When you read, you know, they started late. They started on March the 15th. They started assigning lots in the new town. The next boatload shows up, and some of them come here, and some of them go there. You know that you don't pack up and move until you got something. I mean, you got to start over again, build houses, build cabins. And we did, you know, they came here. And if you read Bolsius's description of the new town, people built cabins, I'm assuming log cabins, put them on the ground, cut down oak trees, termites ate them up, they rotted down. We finally realized that you could cut down the southern pine, and it was hard lumber. You could build something out of that, and we still got structures today that have pieces of it. Okay? And then I couldn't find it, but it was a list of what each Salzburger was to receive. Now, it was how many pounds of this and how many pounds of that, and a knife and a fork and a spoon and a pot and a shovel and a hammer. Now, a promise was a promise. I don't know if all of them got what they were promised. But I did find, and I'll pass this around, that after they got to the new site, 1738, this came on a ship marked for the Salzburgers, and it tells hoes, shovels, axes, saws, nails. And I had one individual one time told me, said that we didn't have any, we didn't have armed militia here. I'm going, I think we did. 75 muskets, 3 foot 10 inches, clean bore barrels. Each man Salzburger at Ebenezer, each man Highlander at Darien. To have one and the residue for use at Savannah. 1 chest of fine emery, 12-pound and 24 sheets of sandpaper for cleaning the muskets, with 200 musket flints and some cartridge paper. In a wicker bottle is 5 gallons of olive oil for the muskets. In 6 barrels is 300 pounds of bullets for said muskets, and then some other stuff. 8 half barrels of F gunpowder and 1/8 barrel of HF gunpowder for primers. And we did have an arm.
Were the English furnishing this? Okay, that's all. I wanted to make sure.
Well, let me tell you what. While we got brought here,
I know.
in the Army, we got a word called expendable. In the military means toilet paper. You use it one time, and that's it. You garbage bag, that's it. I think the English thought we were expendable. We need somebody to keep them Spanish off of them.
Yeah, buffers. Yeah.
Right, we need a buffer something. Yeah. And we didn't have nowhere else to go. And so.
Well, praise God.
Well, I'm just saying, if you walk from from Abercorn Landing, that's where Abercorn community was. He said it's 12 miles here, and you had to walk. Because you had to tote. I mean, the most essential thing you had to have was some clothes, a cooking pot, a cooking fork, and all. You had to bring everything everything they had to tote. They did not have wagons. They did not have animals. In fact, when Bolsius talks about the sawmill that finally got in operation, and that's like 1737 here, he's saying that they have finally trained 2 oxen to pull a cart. Because you had to cut that tree down and you had to get it with a timber cart to the mill, and then you had to get, if you wanted the lumber somewhere, you had to haul it. So they were training 2 oxen to pull, and I'm just saying, everything else was being toted from one spot to the other.
And when they originally came to this site, did they come by the creek, come up this creek? How'd they get in? I thought they boated up to
No,
Nuts Creek.
yeah. He talks about crossing 7 branches. Okay. Are you from Effingham? Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to name them, but I don't come up with but 6. Down there is Swigoffer Branch on the other side of Rincon. I'm the 8th great grandson of Paul Swigoffer.
And I'm
The
the
next-
granddaughter.
That's right. So there's 2 of us. So the next little branch is Willowpeg. That's 2. The next one is Dasher Creek in the middle of town. The next one is Colley Branch, which is out there where Leon Zipper's house is. There's another little old, don't operate until it's wet, and that's right where the battery store is, right up here. The Lancasters started it, and Teresa Roan that married a Lang. There's a little old branch that don't operate till it's wet here. And the next one, which would be the 6th branch, is Little Ebenezer Creek. Now I don't know where the 7th is, but they walk here. The creek, the problem with that creek is it's high water and it's low water, and it's trees that fell in it. And if in high water, they could have a boat, but they, and it's Indian trails. Now where they were, the gentleman just I talked to, they were trails that the Indians had made, and that may be, I'm guessing this, that may be Highway 21 today coming right through here, because if you get on a map and you look and find Abercorn Landing on the county map, the one the Chamber of Commerce puts out, walking here, you couldn't have, we didn't have any other roads. They were the first people here. This is.
I did some research because I wrote a book. I did some research, and what I read on more than one occasion was that Tommy Chichi, that Oberthorpe had him and some of his braves to help cut the way up here.
I will buy that.
Yeah.
But and we had the Indians in Savannah are not the same Indians that lived here. The Yuchi Indians lived here. Yamacraw Indians lived down there.